Hey guys, what's going on? And in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to install bungeecord. I'm going to make this as simple as I can because bungeecord is pretty tricky for beginners. Okay, so first off, just create a folder called bungeecord and then download bungeecord and put that jar inside the bungeecord folder. Next, go into your notepad and then all the links and the code that I just pasted will be in the description, so you can go ahead and copy it. I'm going to fast name this to bungeecord. It's just like creating a server. Then save it. When you save it, you're going to save it into your bungeecord folder, the one that you just created, and name it run.bat. Make sure you do exactly how I did. Once you save that, it's just like creating a server. Like I said, just run this. Should create everything. Then you type in end. Do not type in stop. That's not even a command. For bungeecord, it's end. Once you do that, then there's this thing called modules. We'll get to that in a different tutorial. There's a thing called plugins. We'll get to that in a different tutorial. Next is config. I suggest you to edit it with Notepad++. So we're going to go ahead and edit this. So in here, rename, like you should see the groups, rename MD5 to your username. My username is TAT, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, ignore all this stuff. We'll get to all this in different tutorials. Alright, max players. Right here, let's say I have 3 players online. So before I join the server, it says 3 players online, and then it says right next to it, the max players. Players can go above 1, so above this and max. So even if you set it to like 1,000, and you have like 1,002 players on, they can still get in. This is just a fake max players, but it's to make your server look good. So usually I like doing it 100, or you could just do it 1 to make it look pretty silly. Alright, next one is fallback server. This will be your hub server, and I suggest putting your hub server. So if your hub server name is lobby or hub, right now we'll get to that later, but mine is usually hub. Default server will be your hub server or your lobby server. So I'm just gonna put that in. Okay, force host, we don't need to do that yet. Tab size. Okay, down here. The mod, for now on, this is your mod for before you join a server. So when you're about to join your server, it'll say another Bungie server, but we're going to rename that to TATs. If you do that, make sure you do it like that. I want to do TAT server instead. So TAT server like that. And then clearing evil, that's nothing else. Okay, after that, you're gonna see this servers. This is probably the hardest part, but it's pretty simple once you get a hang of it. So since we set hub, when you run the server and you don't edit this part, the bungeecord won't work. Make sure you name your server down here. Make sure you name the default server, which is usually a hub server. Make sure you name it to the one that you did for fallback server and for default server. So I'm going to name this hub because I just did it on these. Okay, now this will be the address of your server. Now I know this is kind of different, but all your servers that you're hosting, that you're going to connect to, you have to make sure it's on a different port than 25565. That's the bad thing about it, because bungeecord from now on will be on 25565. Other thing, you have to change your servers to offline. I know it's risky, just don't give people the real port number or the IP to connect to the hub server. Only give them the IP to connect to bungeecord. So I'm going to name this to just to that port. You should do a different one, a kind of harder port, because you don't want those cracked players to get into your server, unless you're making a cracked server. Online mode, this is for cracked players, so if you're trying to create a cracked server, then put this to offline. If you're trying to create just a normal server, put it to true. Alright, so that's pretty much it for that part. If you're making more than one server, I'm just going to do this for like for just a little show off type of thing. Oops. Make sure you don't get rid of that. Okay, so just copy whenever you're adding new servers. Let's say I have a hub server, which we just did, but I also have a paintball server. So if I have a paintball server, I rename hub to paintball. It's easy as that. And you can see the address. Make sure it's on a different port, and it has to be the port of the server like I said. So for example, I'm going to do that one. Okay, next one, don't worry about this one. Only worry about the default server that you set up of the mod. So you can see these two mods. This mod will sometimes be on there, but sometimes it chooses this mod. So I would create the same mod and copy and paste on both of these. For example, my default server is hub right here, but right here the mod is completely different. So edit your hub server or whatever your fallback server or default server your mod is, and edit it and rename it to the same thing as you did for your mod up here. So for example, mine is TAT server. Okay, once you're done with all that, save it. Okay, so up here, there's one last thing. Make sure this is to the right port. So let's say normal servers will have this to 255.65, like that. And that way, don't edit this part, by the way. That way, whenever they connect to your server, they'll connect to that port. So by default, just like servers, it's 255.65. So rename that to 255.65. Save it. X out of this. Okay, so you just did the basics. Now, before we run this, actually, yeah, let's run it. Just run it. Check for any errors. If there's any errors, there may be a problem with it, and make sure you just check everything, go to websites and ask questions, or just comment below and I'll try to help you. Alright, so if everything loads correctly how it is right now, oops, see all these isn't errors, by the way. Errors will be really long. If everything's correct, just type in end. And I'm going to get to the server part, the part that you have to do before someone can connect to this. So I'm going to go ahead and open my server up. This will be like your hub server or your paintball server, for example, but mainly make sure you first edit your main server, like your default server that we said so in bungeecord. Make sure you edit it. So I set the port to, let's see, so what you're going to do is make sure you have the right port that you set it to in the bungeecord thing. So I set mine to 7, I think, yeah, 7. And then you're going to go down here in the server properties, and you have to set this to online mode to false. False, like that. Alright, once that's done, then everything should be working. This is optional, but I would probably recommend it so then it's easier to connect to it. You can go into your bucket and you will see, let's see, right here, connection throttle, do it -1, like that. Pretty simple, huh? Alright, now run this and make sure everything works perfectly. Once you're running this, then you're going to X out of this, right? So make sure your server is still running. Go into your bungeecord and run your bungeecord as well. Hope there's no errors. If there's any errors, remember to comment below. Alright, so we got these two things running. Now we're going to open up our Minecraft and we're going to connect to the server. Now you guys can see how right here when I add to localhost or your IP of your server, you can see how it says that right there, how there's 100 players like we set the max. And over here you can see how the mod is exactly how we set it up. Now you can join the server. Hopefully it works. Oh, didn't work. Wonder why. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Okay. So once you join your server, you can see how you connect to your hub server. And now there's a new command for you. It's called /server. You can see these servers. These are the servers that we specified in the config. So like I said, we did the hub part, and you can see how many players is online. And then we did paintball. The problem about this, whenever you can tell by if the server is down by trying to connect to the server with /server paintball to connect to it, and it can give if it gives you that server, then that means that server error. Then that means that the server is offline and it's not online. So technically it's shut down. So I hope this tutorial helped you guys. Subscribe and like, and check on my videos to look for bungee cord tutorials, and I'll be doing more of these. I'll see y'all later.